Hi there. So my name's Robert. Robert Prime, legitimately is my name, and I'm the MD at MrPrime.com. So wanted to say hello and to do this is my first video on the platform. So the goal is that it's going to be helpful, and all the videos are going to be helpful for wherever you're at on Amazon, really. I wanted to start with something that I get asked a lot, really, and it's from retailers and people that sell on and companies that sell on other platforms. And there's normally a lot of reticence about selling on Amazon, a lot of reservations, a lot of worry. And I wanted to sort of highlight some of the things that I get asked most often from these companies, and also some potential remedies for some of the things. So the first question that I would get asked is, I often get asked, will I devalue my brand by selling on Amazon? So that's the first thing. We're not an Amazon product. We're like, quite a high-end product. Well, I guess in that instance, I sort of tend to challenge them to look at their competitors, to go on to and see if they're on Amazon, because the chances are they are going to be on Amazon, to be honest with you. Even if they're not themselves selling directly, someone is probably selling their product on there. And to be honest, in most cases, someone is selling that company's product that's spoken to me. So again, there are brands I know that aren't on Amazon, but they're very, very, very few and far between. So the bottom line is, if you're not selling your own brand on Amazon, someone else is going to be doing it, and they're probably going to be doing a much worse job than you would be doing. And that effectively is more devaluing to the brand than anything that you could do, really. So it's pretty much the norm that brands sell on Amazon. If you're not, someone else is, and you'll probably find that just by searching for your brand on there. The second thing is, what are the margins on Amazon? So am I going to make a profit? Um, And obviously, Amazon has a lot of hidden fees. There's no question about that. So that is a big consideration going on to Amazon. If you were selling on your own site, obviously you've got fees for advertising, you've got fees for the transactions, you've got, fees for running the site, etc. So there are fees, but on Amazon, obviously, these can be a little bit higher due to the fact that, Amazon's just putting the customer on your lap, basically. So you really do need to know your margins. And to do that in very simple form, if we just look at Amazon here from the FBA calculator, and basically a simple way you can do it is by going here, putting in the product title or the SKU. So say, for example, I was going to sell a garlic press, and this one here, and mine was quite, say similar to this one. So find a like for like product on here. If you look in the top here, in the URL bar up here, this is the ASIN. It's called the ASIN, which is just the identifier on Amazon. So you can take that. Whoops, I don't want to cut it. That wouldn't be the right thing to do. So you can take the ASIN. Should we refresh that? Sorry. Bear with me. Okay, so try again. You can take the ASIN here, copy that, and put it into here, and then basically search it. And what it will do is it will bring up that. It will show you here. This is if Amazon fulfills it. This is FBA, and that's if you send the product into Amazon warehouses, you let them post it to customers. Based on an item price of £24.99, your Amazon fees are going to be £4.57. The fulfillment cost for them to post it is going to be that, and the storage cost is going to be that, for that period. And obviously, if you have it long term, that starts to ramp up, so you have to be careful of that. Other costs on the estimated VAT and so forth. And what that does is it brings you down here your profit margin and your net profit based on that price. Now, this is your fulfillment. So this is if you decide to sell to the customer directly. And in other videos, we'll go into those in more detail as to the pros and cons of each. But obviously, in this case, it's not going to have the fulfillment cost because Amazon isn't fulfilling it. So you have to put your delivery charge in here. The other fees work out pretty much the same, and then your proceeds here. So assuming that it cost me, say, £2 to send that out to my customer myself, then that's my net proceeds and the net margin. Now, obviously, your product isn't going to be exactly the same size, most likely, but this is an estimation. And if you want to change the item price, you can now see how that affects the bottom line. So here, cost per unit is your actual cost of goods sold. So say it cost me £6 to manufacture it. Miscellaneous cost, that could be things like labeling, shipping, other things, so put 50p. And effectively here, you're going to see now if at 14.97 with my cost of goods to me and my other miscellaneous costs, my net profit is £1.03 and the margin is £6.46. So I know that I need to now sell it at sort of, around the price that they did, to be honest with you. So £24 cost per unit. There, that's the estimated sales, net profit £7 per unit, and 28% margin. If I sold this product at 24.99 and it was costing me £6 to make it, and any small miscellaneous costs in here. So that net margin, 28%. Now, companies I work with, the net profit, the net margin, so in percentage terms, you'd want it to be, I would say, at a minimum 20%. This can go up to much more. It can go up to 50% plus, for certain industries. But realistically, what I tend to see is between 20, 25, 30%. That's the sort of parameters of net margin that I would see. The other key thing to look at is ROI. So basically, if I'm investing £6 into this product to make it, then and my net profit is 7, then my ROI is going to be over 100%. So every pound I invest into my product, I'm going to make over £1 back, which is a really good ROI. So the ROI is an important metric to measure as well. So, for example, if I had £1,000 product and I was making £100 on it, whilst I've got good net margin, my ROI is actually 10%, which means that I'm spending a thousand to make 100. So it's not as good for it's not as good for cash flow. It's not as good for for investment of money in that respect, but the profit's still high. I hope that makes some sort of sense. But basically, things that I measure: net profit, net margin, and ROI. So if something's costing me £6 to make it, landed cost, that's after all costs, then I want to really be making 80%, profit to 100% profit minimum, hopefully more. So that means that I'm going to need this to back out at over probably £6 or over in this instance, which it does. So it takes some playing around with. There's spreadsheets that we can share that help with that. And yeah, that's how I would basically look at profitability, looking at what's out there, looking at the fees. The fees change per category, so you have to do your homework and make sure you allow plenty of margin, basically, because if you don't, you'll find that when you start to run advertising, you have other hidden cost returns, things like that. It'll catch up with you. You need a good sized margin in there, to counteract all of that. The next thing that I'm often asked about Amazon is, what happens if it sells cheap on Amazon? My retailers are going to get annoyed, or people I distribute to are going to get annoyed, because someone can get it cheaper on Amazon. And that's probably the biggest concern I get, actually, is, well, why don't I just annoy the people that I sell it to already? If I sell to like distributors, online retailers, and I sell direct on Amazon, they're going to say, well, what are you doing selling on Amazon? The only time I ever see an issue with this is where it's cheaper on Amazon than it is in the online retailers, or than the people that are distributing to. I think that online retailers and distributors and so forth expect brands to sell directly on Amazon. I think the problem comes when they undercut on Amazon and it makes it difficult to sell the product off Amazon. That's where you get the issue. Um, so, as I say, it's expected. And the other thing, again, to mention is that if you're not, your distributors probably are, or someone else probably is. And again, they're probably not doing a great job of it. They can undercut if they want to. They can put rubbish listings up. They can really devalue your brand. So if you're, again, it comes to the thing, if you're not taking control of your brand on Amazon, someone else is, and they won't treat it with the same care that you do. If you undercut on Amazon, yes, you're going to annoy people off Amazon. If you're in online retailers, if you're in other shops, etc., yes, that will annoy them. But if you keep your price high at the RRP, then no, I've never seen that an issue whatsoever. Other things that I suggest in this instance are to sell Amazon exclusives. That this is the real key, because if you basically imagine you have a product, it's £10, say it's a toothbrush, and you've got it in Boots, you've got it in like a lot of different stores, and you've got it on Amazon, and it's £10 everywhere. That's your ideal world. Now, imagine Boots do a sale, they put it down to 7.99. Well, Amazon's actually price matching Boots, and it's price matching a lot of online retailers, superstores, etc., and it's doing it constantly. And that might flag in your account. Actually, you've got to charge 7.99 on Amazon now. Now, it might be that Boots is just doing a promo that, is a loss leader for them or whatever, but the problem is it's going to affect your price on Amazon. You can still sell it on Amazon, but they'll make it very hard for you. They won't give you the visibility. They won't give you what's called the buy box, which is this, and you have to reduce your price. And that's a killer because you just don't have the margin to sell it at that price. So the way that they price match is price matched on barcode, basically. So if you don't have the same barcode on Amazon as you do offline, it doesn't matter. You can pretty much sell this product on Amazon for what you want. And ideally, to be honest, you should, sell it on Amazon a little bit higher. That everybody's happy. If you can justify it, then that's the ideal. But really, you want to have Amazon exclusive products, and that solves a lot of products down the line. And how you can do this, for example, is really, to be quite honest, just creating another ASIN and SKU and labeling it. So for this product, I could label it differently, put a different SKU on it, change the main image, put it on Amazon, and it's never going to be price matched. No one's probably going to really notice, to be perfectly honest with you. Or I could make it into a bundle with something else. I could sell two of them together. I could do some sort of other difference. Anything really to differentiate it even slightly. The packaging could be slightly different. It could have a slightly different label on it, slightly different size. Doesn't really matter. But the thing that, and as I say, you can actually sell the same product anyway, to be quite frank. You don't even need to make a change, but it's better if you do make some form of change to justify that EN change. And then, as I say, list it on Amazon. You don't have the price matching issues. You can charge a higher price. You can put an extra perceived value in there. And again, it solves a whole host of issues down the line from Amazon price matching other retailers and other retailers from price matching Amazon for that matter. So do sell on Amazon, do sell your brand on Amazon. If you can, go with Amazon exclusives. That's my biggest tip um, for retailers, basically, that are selling off Amazon. Amazon exclusives going to save you a lot of pain down the line. The next thing is I could ask, well, how do I control my brand on Amazon? So, I can see my brand's on Amazon already. I can see there's other sellers selling it. How do I control my brand on Amazon? Well, that's built into your map agreements with other companies that you distribute to. Often companies will have an exclusive Amazon agreement that these companies can't sell on Amazon or certain marketplaces that are key to them. Um, and most of the time, to be honest, if you're there as the brand and you're selling at a given price, if you're on there selling as FBA with Amazon Prime, you're selling products into Amazon, you're doing it all properly, really should be quite hard for other companies to have the margin, and other distributors and resellers, etc., to have the margin to compete with you anyway. So you will most of the time fit into the buy box here. Just off the basis of that, you will have more margin than them. So therefore, you have, it should be hard for them to compete. Um, you can get something called Amazon Transparency, which is a whole different level of labeling, QR codes to show that you're the exclusive owner and so forth. And it's a lot of steps, and there is a fee around that. That's the only surefire way to stop other sellers selling on your listing. Apart from that, it is a bit of a free fall. But what again I find is if you go to your product and you see that it's being sold by 5 companies, you probably know who they are, and you can speak to them, ask them not to sell on Amazon. You can stop supplying them if they're small, or you can basically by you listing on there and having a competitive price as Amazon Prime, they're probably not going to be able to compete with you on price anyway. So I've never seen this. It is an issue because you do get sellers, coming on there that you supply and selling on Amazon, but it's normally a solvable one, and that can be by a cease and desist. It can be by stopping supplying them. It can be just by being on there competitively priced yourself. And there's various ways around it, but it is a pain. But as I say, if they're not, um, if they are selling on Amazon and you're not, and they're selling your product and your brand, if they're doing poor customer support, sending the products out poorly, they're pricing things too high or too low, the listings look rubbish, it's damaging your brand. It's damaging the score here. And that means that when someone comes off Amazon searching for your brand, types in your brand name plus something else into Amazon, they're probably going to end up going to a competitor by the time they've looked and seen yours isn't that good, and all the different ways you can leave a listing to a competitor. It's not good. So I would say get onto Amazon, get your brand registered. That's something that registers you as the owner of the brand. Get the listing of a high quality. I can go through later on what a high quality listing is. Uh, run advertising. But if you do nothing else, do that, because even if other sellers sell all your brand now, at least they're going to sell it in a quality listing that gives them more chance of making more sales and represents your brand fully. The last thing that I get asked is, should I sell Vendor Central or Seller Central? Most brands that we speak to have started off with Vendor Central, and Vendor Central is basically where Amazon buys the product off you, effectively wholesale. So you have a back end platform. Amazon will put an order in for, say, 20 garlic presses. You send them the order, and job done. And so that's the first one. The second one is Seller Central, which is you're the seller, you're listing the products, and you're sending them to Amazon warehouses, or you're selling them direct to the customer. And that is where you're more hands-on with it. And most people go for the first one, the Vendor Central, because they think, well, Amazon is going to be, buying off me. That's great. It's going to be low hassle. But what they don't realize is that they have very little control over price. So, or no control over price. In fact, Amazon will price whatever they want. And a lot of time, Amazon will undercut all of your offline channels, all of your off-time retailers, and you cannot do a thing about it. So that's the biggest one, and that will really cause a lot of problems. Second one is payment terms. It tends to be 60, 90 days. Third one is if Amazon doesn't sell the product of yours, they haven't really bought it, they can actually have clauses to return it to you anyway. Fourth one is they tend to charge penalties for late shipments, damage, and so forth. You have no control over. Fifth is that you basically have quite limited support with them unless you get an account manager. And sixth is you get no control of speaking to the customer on messages, so therefore it's harder to control reviews. And there's a lot of reasons that I personally would opt for Seller Central, which is where you actually are listing the product, you're selling to the customer directly. Yes, it's a little bit more work, but there are a lot of benefits to it. Faster payment, control on price, being able to negate negative reviews by speaking to the customer, and all of these other things, that I'll mention in other videos. But those are the two ways to sell: Seller Central or Vendor Central. I spend my life getting people from Vendor Central to Seller Central, and the main one is price. And lastly, I forgot to say actually, the other main one is the fact that Amazon could buy something off you for £15. They could be buying this garlic press off you for £15 all their life, and suddenly they'll say, "I want it for £9." And you say, "Well, I can't afford to. Material costs have gone up, price has gone up." Yeah, that's tough. I want to buy it off you for that price. If not, I won't order it. And you're absolutely stuffed. So, or the other thing is you have a price increase, as most people do. Cost of living, cost of materials, cost of manufacturing goes up. Your, wherever you're sourcing from, be it China, etc., goes up. Um, you try getting a price on Vendor Central with Amazon is very, 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 very difficult. So, whereas if you're FBA with your own unique exclusive SKUs, basically just move the price up in 5 seconds. Try doing it with Amazon, you might be there a year trying to do that. So it's not easy, I promise. So there are a lot of reasons for going Seller Central if you can, in my opinion. There are exceptions to that. If you're, like a huge brand, Amazon will put the work in on Vendor Central for you. If not, you're pretty much, you're going to be suffering, in my experience. So those are some of the reasons and how to sell on Amazon. I think every retailer should sell on Amazon, even if it's polishing listings, because you could otherwise find yourself in a position where your listing looks horrid. If you've got local shops bought your products somehow from a distributor that you supply, and they've just decided to chuck them on Amazon, they're going to have like a rubbish image, one main image, no reviews, poor service. It's just not good for you. So if you're not selling your brand on Amazon, someone else is. I would suggest at a minimum going on there, polishing it with imagery, correct listings, making it look good. And that's if that's at a minimum. And then let other sellers sell it if you want to. But the optimal is for you to go on there, take control of the channel, expand it, have Amazon exclusive SKUs if you can, have a map agreement built in with your people that you distribute to. So, based around price undercutting, based around where they can or cannot sell. Keep Amazon exclusive to you because it is low-hanging fruit, and and get after it because there's a lot to be had there. I hope this helps, and I'll join you in the next video.